setting the stage for the ultimate accident. Whether we realize it or not, our creativity and our creative imagination are our most valuable assets and underlies all that we do and all that we are. The Releasing Unlimited Creativity Understanding is directed at stretching our perception about the nature of reality to open the door to empower our creativity and our creative imagination to accept the depth and breadth of our inherent creative ability and creative power. It was said in the discussion of the ultimate accident, although the ultimate accident is a spontaneous event, we cannot make it happen. We can open ourselves to the possibility of it happening. 2 suggestions were made, and they were as follows. One is to set the intention to be open to such an experience, but understand why one seeks such an experience, for what we seek influences the experience. The second suggestion is to request to be gently led to the experiences, and that any subsequent experiences we need to have to fully understand the experience. Tell the universe you are open and that you do not need to be hit on the side of the head with a club to awaken. It was also said, although the ultimate accident is a spontaneous event, you cannot make it happen. We can create the conditions to increase the probability of it happening. In addition to the 2 suggestions above, what is offered here are 3 ways that have been found to create the space for the ultimate accident or significantly increase the probability of the ultimate accident happening. One is that the ultimate accident tends to occur in the diversion of the mind in a special type and kind of play. It is the play found in the most creative state of being. This play is as close as possible to the spontaneous and innocent childlike play of discovery and exploration of oneself and one's creation, as one would experience as a small child before they become consciously aware of the choices, or they have a choice. It is to be out of mind or outside the conscious judging and thinking conscious mind, and totally surrender and in alignment with the flow of the creative life energy within one's being. It doesn't matter what one is playing or doing in their play. Rather, they have to be in the condition of mind totally surrender to the flow of energy in the spontaneous and innocent play. Where in your life are you allowed to freely play and get lost in the play? It needs to be noted that being in a state of innocence in our play is a major factor in creating the conditions for the ultimate accident. Unfortunately, we cannot think our way into this state and this kind of play and use the mind to decide the type and kind of diversion that we will do. It is something we allow ourselves to become absorbed into and swallowed up into or lost in. Learning to use the technique of navigating through life from an internal compass and using the fullness of being as the direction on the internal compass in spontaneous play can create the conditions that cause us to be swallowed up into a spontaneous and innocent childlike play. The second way is similar to the first. However, rather than entering a state of play, it is simply to align with the flow of energy within our being that arises from the source of our being and that sustains us. When we align with that flow, we simply surrender to it and allow it to carry us back to the source. This requires us to surrender to a very unique feeling within our being that is representative of the purpose for our incarnation. It is about learning and aligning with the purpose of our being here and what we came to do. It's about doing what gives us passion for life and for living, and for not losing focus of that passion. Using a creativity perspective where we hold our creativity sacred will help us to use this second way. It can create a perspective in our life where we can surrender to our passion and look to be in that passion by what we do in life. We can be playfully spontaneous and innocent in that passion where we increase the probability to an even greater extent. The third way that the probability can be increased is that we create a condition within our being to be happy with what is as it is. No ands, if, ors, or buts. We are happy with what is exactly as it is and be thankful for the experiences we have regardless of how our mind judges them. It is the realization that things are perfect exactly as they are, and we are thankful for the experiences we have, and we are open to drinking a toast to life as it is. Thoughts on increasing the possibility of the ultimate accident. The ultimate accident cannot happen and will not happen when one is avoiding something in creation, or they do not like something, or they do not accept some aspect of creation. Such states of avoidance are states of mind and judgments of the mind. This is why we will see or hear words equivalent to something we judge. That is, do not try and create something new because we are trying to escape something we judge as wrong, bad, or somehow we do not like it. Rather, look to create something new simply because what we are experiencing is no longer serving who and what we are or what we have found ourselves to be. Creating something new because it no longer serves who and what we are requires a different attitude than creating something because we do not like what we are experiencing or we want something in particular. To create something new because we do not like it causes us to live in duality and be held captive by the duality itself. Creating something new because what we experience no longer serves us is to grow past what we experience and not be bound by the past in any way. It does not seek pleasure over pain or pain over pleasure. It is like a child outgrowing their clothes. The child simply drops the undersized clothes for they no longer fit. So to our past in any aspect of it. We need to learn to outgrow it rather than being bound by it. When we find that what is in our life is no longer serving us, we can simply drop it. One needs to realize that what we now experience serves who we think we were and or who we think we are now. If we perceived or perceive ourselves differently, we would be experiencing something different. The recommendation is to set the intention to choose to create something that fully and totally expresses who and what we think we are. Then in that experience we can see who we think we are. In this awareness, we can then see if what we think and believe serves us or does not serve us. Of course, for one to develop the attitude to see what they are experiencing no longer serves them, one must change the inner view of themselves and creation first. That is, they must accept that at some level of their being, they have created or have agreed to participate in what they are experiencing. They cannot play victim and blame anyone but themselves for what they are experiencing. The biggest obstacle to learning to become happy with what is the view one has of themselves. The second biggest obstacle is one's view of creation. The more one can learn to be happy with themselves and believe in themselves, the greater the possibility of the ultimate accident. Similarly, the more one can find a view of creation and a perception of God or the source of creation that allows one to be happy with the world as it is, the greater the possibility of the ultimate accident. The easiest way to change one's view of themselves in creation is to adopt the creativity perspective and hold one's creativity sacred. Then give oneself permission to explore the depth and breadth of one's creativity and creative powers. And it needs to be noted and emphasized here that what one needs to do to hold one's creativity sacred is not necessarily the way another will hold their creativity sacred. Don't compare. We are each too unique to follow the path of another to explore our truth and what serves us. On this point, realize creation is magical enough to allow each of us to live true to the truth of our own being and hold our creativity sacred in a way we need to do so to hold it sacred and yet allow the other to remain free to do the same. Now, the interesting thing about the ultimate accident and the conditions to create it is that everyone has been there, and it's simply the spontaneous and innocent childlike play of discovery and exploration of oneself and of the universe, out of mind and in the flow. Each of us are born into it. The problem is that we live in this experience before we become consciously aware of it with our conscious mind. By the time we gain the experiences in life such that our conscious mind could recognize what happens in the state of spontaneous and innocent childlike play and recognize it for what it is, we have already moved out of the innocence and spontaneous play to please another or to protect ourselves from the world in which we find ourselves, or adjust ourselves and deny ourselves to get our needs met. Hence the origin of such things like original sin and the concepts that the human is somehow less than the creator that they are, and that we need to work our way back into the experience of it. In any case, although we have left this state of being in our childhood, if later in life we are totally preoccupied out of mind, it is possible for us to re-enter and experience this state. In doing so, the possibility of the ultimate accident is greatly enhanced. Hence, the ultimate accident in the diversion of play occurs when the mind is so preoccupied with something routine and playful that it is open to the experience of what it is without the filters of the mind. The awareness that comes from this experience is that one does not have to transcend the physical plane to find a place of internal bliss and joy that never runs dry. To believe one must transcend the physical is only an opinion and belief of mind. Rather, one simply needs to live in the fullness of being and choose to live their life in those activities that give them or move them towards a fullness of being and a passion for being alive and in life, for they are consciousness which arises from our awareness of play with itself, simply enjoying the play it has created. To have this ultimate accident, or rather increase the probability of its occurrence, it is not about, quote, working at it in an intense masculine effort to thrust forward to do something. Rather, it is more of a feminine effort of nourishing and surrendering to the creation process as it exists and is unfolding. It is to be present to what is and allowing it to happen and unfold within one's being. We can do this by allowing our intuitive guidance and the energy sustaining our life to lead us rather than the mind. Allow the heart, one's intuitive guidance and feelings, to intend the directions of life and have mind attend to the details to make it safe and allow it to happen.